Terrorism is the use of intentional indiscriminate violence as a means to create terror among masses of people, or fear to achieve a religious or political aim. I'll introduce the reason why terrorism happens. There is the order that dissatisfaction transfer terrorism. First, NARS are grievance. A part of people NARS are grievance against something in society. Not just terrorists, everyone has complaints in daily life. However, if that is too strict or unfair, people NARS are grievance that is part of complaints, especially about topic of society. Second, sympathize with people who NARS the same grievance. People who NARS a grievance gather to change the present unsatisfied situation. It is more reassuring with people who have thinking that by only oneself. Third, take an action to demand improvement with words. Most people don't want to injure others from the beginning. They take an action by any means to demand the present situation. Terrorism doesn't occur if their demands is accepted, because a grievance fades out at that time. However, a grievance increases and a part of them attacks with weapons if their demands is rejected or is not paid attention. They become terrorists and run indiscriminate terrorism involved citizens. In this way, terrorism happens. In addition to that, there are some cases that people who are attacked by terrorists counter them. It is vicious circle that one group of terrorists create other group of terrorists. That's all.
Terrorism is happening all over the world. Here is an example of terrorism as the largest terrorism using planes in history. September 11 attacks were airline hijacking and suicide attacks committed in 2001. It was said that this terrorism was a crime affiliated with Al-Qaeda and the leader of terrorists was Muhammad Atef. At first, people thought that it was an accident when the American Airlines Flight 11 collided with the north ridge of World Trade Center. However, 70 minutes later, the United Airlines Flight 175 collided with the south ridge of World Trade Center again. This incident gave people recognition not to be a mere accident, and the American Airlines Flight 77 collided in the Pentagon, and the United Airlines Flight 93 collided on the ground in spite of the think that a passenger tried to recapture a cockpit from a terrorist. The number of dead people in this case is 2,996 in total, including perpetrators, and the injured person is estimated more than 6,000 people. In September 11 attacks, toxic substances occurred at the time of World Trade Center collapse and adversely affected mainly respiratory system to the health condition of the people who said victims and the people who lived in the neighborhood in those days. In the dust, cement and grass were included, so the lungs are damaged when a person breathes it in. In this way, many people all over the world were shocked by September 11 attacks.
I'm Reiki Kikuchi. From me, I will tell you about policing style of America and a little comparison between US and Japan by introducing Japanese policing style. First of all, as far as I know, America has roughly 3 policing styles. Now, let's have a look at all the 3 styles. So, these are the 3 styles. Zero tolerance policing, then community policing, and military police. Let me explain from the top. Zero tolerance policing style. This style has a concept. This was made, which based on broken window theory. This is about people believe the way of think that dangerous incident will not occur where there is nothing. So this means police are so strict on any tiny problems. For example, someone sleep on the road or even drop something. Police will come and say some warnings. This is so scary policing style, I think. Next style is community policing style. This style has started since 1980s. This style values unity of the citizen in that area. So usually police effort. So they patrol in the area to communicate with citizens directly. This kind of they save the area in peace way. The third policing style is military police. As you can guess, this type is actually military to keep close that area. And this is to maintain the army regulations. And it was said that these police are acted by demands of army. Through all the 3 styles, these are completely different. Then how about Japanese policing style? Finally, the introducing of Japanese policing style. According to the research, Japan seems to have only one style, which is community policing style. This style is measured, and they carry out a system so-called police box system.
I'm talking about police and terrorism. Terrorism is very terrible, and the police in each country have to crack down strictly on it. However, sometimes police arrest the innocent people with weak evidences. So I'll show you one of those cases. In August 2017, a 25-year-old student was arrested and accused of plotting Islamic State-inspired lone wolf attacks targeting Australian politicians. The prosecution relied almost exclusively on a notebook police said contained details of the plot. But according to the accused lawyers, the evidence against the student was fundamentally flawed. Handwriting experts were unable to link the writing in the notebook to him. He spent about the last 4 weeks in jail before being bailed. His family and supporters maintained his innocence, and the case prompted protests in his hometown in Sri Lanka. In January 2018, police declined to apologize after dropping terror charges against the student, who's planning to sue for compensation. Lawyers said, "It's a terrible experience as a young man who has done everything right in life. He has gone through jail in unforgivable circumstances." Police sometimes suspect the innocent person whether he or she committed terrorist act, but it is very important and shouldn't be forgot for all the people to be respected as individuals.
I'll introduce some measures for terrorism from Japan to the world and terrorism in Olympics. First of all, I'll introduce some measures for terrorism to other countries in real. Japan tried to support developing countries to enhance the power which does not lose by terrorism. For example, in Afghanistan, we are cooperating technically in the field of agriculture. We can shift poppies, which are raw materials of the Taliban, to the cultivation of other crops. In Southeast Asia, we also conduct airport security training, immigration control seminars, customer staff training, harboring large-scale X-ray cargo inspection machines, and patrol boats. Police capacity building problems, and other societies and terrorism who can win the terrorism. We support a society that does not produce terrorism by some aspects. These efforts will involve the instability efforts of the world, such as conflict, poverty, and vulnerable governance mechanisms, and leads to peace and stability in Japan. Towards a world without terrorism, global efforts are needed now. Next, I'll introduce the future Japanese terrorism and efforts in Olympics. The possibility with the terrorism happening is increasing in case Olympics, because the happening terrorism in the middle of Olympics has much attention and terrorists have much satisfaction because they can feel terror. In real, there was 3 terrorisms in the world ever, such as Miyuu and Atlanta and Russia. That's why in 2020 we should consider the measures to terrorism. According to the Prime Minister of Japan and his cabinet, Japan are planning to strengthen the society. One of their efforts is Olympics taking place in various areas. By scattering areas, the government tries to strengthen the security because they can use the power of God effectively, and strength because the area becomes smaller. In conclusion, Japan contributed the measures for terrorism globally, and the Japanese government considers our safety future. In 2020, ordinary people should have the sense of crisis. If we can have the sense of crisis, ordinary people will escape smoothly when the terrorism may happen. People should be interested in terrorism and cite the government's actions. Thank you for listening.